markets care? I mean, what is the market impact if you have all of these hedge funds crowded into these trades? It's not just hedge funds, by the way. It's also long-only managers.
And ETFs.
It's
exactly.
there's
The
an
entire
enormous
market.
risk. Well, this is
crowded
why,
into these trades.
if you think about what happened last fall when we had the big drop, 20% drop through the fourth quarter, that really was led by the tech names, the FANG names, when there was selling of ETFs, S&P, index funds, technology index funds. That starts driving, and then you get hedge funds who get a redemption. You got to sell very liquid stocks. So the question really is, can they continue to show the numbers, which they have? I mean, if you look at the earnings from these names, they've been, Apple's strong, Amazon's strong. We've had some good. Netflix was the only one that didn't have a strong quarter.
It's interesting. I mean, the focus always is in hedge funds because they're sexy and because the GPs make
because they're big
and all that.
Yeah.
But the facts are, that almost everybody underperforms the passive funds. So historically, 75% of all active managers always underperform, right?
Why are we listening to all of you guys?
Right, exactly. So,
I'm sorry, I had to say the obvious.
That's a good but here's the point. But let me just finish. But here's the point. The most crowded players, the most crowded trades are in the passive funds, and you could look at just a few of those because they are the largest shareholders. They own more than 50% of all the S&P large cap, and on their way to owning more of that.
Mel, yesterday, Marianne Bartles was on here. We talked about unusual activity, which is one of the things that Pete and I use to basically find the trades that we talk about, and this alternative data. And I mentioned Battlefin, something that Pete and I will have a partnership with. These guys are looking at data that people haven't seen yet. Retail has not seen this data. We've heard that there are folks out there that grab the credit card data. We know that. Do you know there are also firms out there that get the receipt data? For every time somebody buys something online, they get the receipt data.
There are firms out there that have
invaluable.
That's on parking lots at malls and get that data. I mean, big data is taking over.
Exactly. Yep.
They track numbers on plane tails to see where the deals are. I mean, there's all sorts of that stuff.
Web data, clickstream data, all of that.
We got to take a break.
That's the alpha. That's where you get the alpha now.
Kathy, thank you so much for joining us. Kathy Entwistle of UBS. Here's what's coming up on the halftime report.
A double downgrade for Hawaiian Holdings. That stock already slumping more than 40% over a year. We'll debate the airlines in our call of the day. Plus, the investment committee is answering your questions. To reach us, go to cnbc.com/halftime or tweet us at Halftime Report using the hashtag AskHalftime. The Halftime Report is back in 2 minutes.
This is a plug for the future. Inviting you to join the forward-thinking riders, skaters, and drivers who choose electricity to get around. Charging their bikes, boards, and cars using power from EDF Energy, the UK's largest producer of low-carbon electricity. So, do you like the sound of the electric future? Come and join us. Generation Electric. Everyone's welcome. EDF Energy.
Live big and spend less on the brands you adore. And dine by the waterside. Who could want more? Lap up the savings as much as the view with Ted Baker, Hackett, Nike, and Coach too. Lock Fine and Five Guys make it a date. You can shop, meet, and eat every weekday till late. So sit back, unwind, and let style lead the way. And give yourself a different day at Gunwharf Keys. Waterfront outlet shopping.
Phew! Currys PC World Mega Deals are hot stuff. You can save up to £150 on Samsung fridge freezers, all with a soothing 5-year guarantee. Starting from just $379 for the RB29. Or upgrade to an American-style model with £150 off the RS8000. And chill in the heat with its water and ice dispenser. A hot mega deal for a cool $999 at Currys PC World.
With a welcome bonus from the no annual fee British Airways American Express credit card, your next getaway's not far away. So whether it's welcome to drifting down the canals of Amsterdam or bienvenue to midnight strolls in Paris, say welcome to a European adventure. Spend £1,000 in your first 3 months of card membership and get 5,000 bonus Avios. That's enough to get away to Europe sooner. Search BA Amex to find out more. Representative 22.9% APR variable. Applicants must be 18 years or older, subject to approval. Terms, taxes, fees and carrier charges apply.
The sun gently fell below the horizon. Rays of pure gold filled the sky, illuminating the towering structures of the London skyline. What else could Jane do but gaze in awe? She was but a silhouette upon a hill, wrapped up in a spectacle so perfect. No words, oil paintings, or smartphone filters could do it justice. She savoured it. Before hopping back on her bike and riding off, she had to finish her commute home. Walk, cycle, discover. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
Welcome back. We're tracking the traders, and Steve Weiss is tracking Jim Lebenthal. After Jim bought more Boeing yesterday, Weiss decided to get in on the same trade, bought himself the stock today. Why? What changed?
Jim who? Not familiar. Look, I had been in the stock and had gotten down to all but a meaningless position, and then the big flush came, so I started buying it. I actually bought.
Still waiting to flush.
No, I don't think so.
Well, let's talk about that.
I think the positive.
I think it's going to 280, right?
I do.
The only reason it flushes more is Chinese come out, and that's one of my concerns.
Let's get to the president. We've got tape playback of comments made moments ago.
They finally get smart and reduce interest rates like many other places around the world that we have to compete with. But our economy is the strongest in the world by far, nothing even close. And a lot of good things are happening. We had some very good retail numbers this morning, as you saw. And I guess the stock market is quite a bit up. So,
Mr. President?
Are you demanding that Jay Powell lower interest rates? No, I don't demand it, but if he used his head, he would lower them. In Germany, they have a zero interest rate, and we do compete, much stronger than Germany, but we do compete with Germany. In Germany, they have zero interest rate, and when they borrow money, I mean, when you look at what happens, look at what's going on over there. They borrow money, they actually get paid to borrow money. And we have to compete with that. So if you look at what's happening around the world, Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve have totally missed the call. I was right, and just about everybody admits that. I was right. He did quantitative tightening. He shouldn't have done that. He raised interest rates too fast, too furious. And we have a normalized rate. You call it that. And now we have to go the other direction. We'll see if he does it. If he does it, you'll see a rocket ship. You'll see a boom. If he does it, we have a very strong economy. But we could be in a place that this nation was seldom at if we had interest rates cut by the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve has let us down. They missed the call. They raised them too fast. They raised it too high. And they did quantitative tightening. They shouldn't have done the tightening, and they shouldn't have raised them to the extent. We could have had some raises, but nothing like they did.
Mr. Trump, why have you backed down on background checks, sir?
There's a strong appetite for background checks.
And we've been listening to the president's strong words when it comes to the Fed Chair Jerome Powell saying if he used his head, he would cut rates. Let's get to Eamon Javers, who's been listening to all of this from the White House. Eamon.
Yeah, the president feels he's been entirely vindicated, that everybody, he says, agrees with him that the Fed needs to be cutting rates and should have been cutting rates last year instead of raising rates. Now, this is a president who just after that clip went on to do just about a 180 on taxes. Yesterday, the president was ruminating publicly on the idea of a payroll tax cut, of indexing, other things, saying ideas are under consideration at the White House. Today, the president came out and definitively said, when I asked him, that they are not considering tax cuts right now. The president told me that's because the economy is very good. He also said that he looked at this idea of indexing and he feels that that's for the rich. If you index capital gains to the inflation rate, that would be a big benefit to the top earners. He said, I'm not looking to help the rich, I'm looking to help the workers. The president recognizing the political difficulty of that indexing tax move, which a lot of conservative anti-tax activists are pushing him to try and do. Melissa, also, I asked the president about his relationship with Tim Cook of Apple. They had dinner last week up in Bedminster, New Jersey, and I asked the president if he feels he has a better relationship with Tim Cook than other tech executives. The president says he does. He likes Tim Cook, connects with Tim Cook better than other tech execs in Silicon Valley. And the reason, he said, is because Tim Cook calls him directly. He said the other CEOs, they don't call, they just hire multi-million-dollar lobbyists. He likes that one-on-one relationship, and that's why he said he's been willing to consider some of Tim Cook's ideas. And it seems like Apple has really developed some inroads here with this White House that some of the other tech companies haven't done, Melissa.
You can watch the switchboards light up then at the White House. And I can't imagine how many
I bet they're all getting out their cell phones.
Exactly.
The number is 456-1414. That's the main switchboard at the White House.
Eamon, in terms of the payroll tax, so when he says he's not looking at cutting taxes, does that include the payroll tax? I mean,
I asked him
every day there's a different stance. So I'm going to ask you again today.
This is totally different in tone than what the president said yesterday. Now, to be fair to the president, yesterday he did put some caveats on it and said, we're not looking to do all these things right away, but we're considering all these various ideas. Today, it was a definitive no. I asked him, are you considering doing other tax cuts? He said no, because the economy is so good. So the president's arguing now, and this is now a consistent argument, that the economy is good, therefore we don't need tax stimulus. Yesterday, the argument was a little bit more muddied, and I think the White House realized that, which is the economy is great, but we need to have stimulus. Now, it's more of a straight line argument, but that leaves aside the tax cuts that I think a lot of people on Wall Street were looking at and saying, hey, maybe we can get something else here from this administration before 2020.
All right, Eamon, thank you. Eamon Javers from the White House with that very quickly changing story when it comes to the president's stance on taxes. The economy is so strong, we don't need stimulus in the form of tax cuts, but we do need an aggressive Fed when it comes to lowering rates.
And so I'd make a couple of observations. Number one, you pointed out Germany. Germany's market is down 20%. The DAX is from its highs. So we don't want to emulate Germany.
They're in contraction right now.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's number one. Number two, I appreciate, we know what movie he was watching in the White House screening room last night, Fast and Furious. He let that slip out. And number three, I understand why a real estate guy, particularly one who's had a number of bankruptcies, would like negative rates, because maybe then he could meet his debt obligations. But that's not going to do anything for us. That's going to kill the banks. And what about all the people that live on pensions and fixed incomes? They've been suffering for years. We're going to make them suffer more? I just don't think so.
Highly unlikely the Fed will make a move. What's missing from the Fed's, I guess, inventory of ideas is, how about do nothing? You don't have to raise. You don't have to lower. You can say, I'm doing nothing, and I'm going to wait and see what the quarters look like 2 and 3 from now. Why do anything, particularly in Jackson Hole? I'd love to see a Fed just say, we're sitting back, we love what we see, the economy's on fire, we're happy to see that, we've done the right thing, and now we're going to wait and do nothing. That's a great message.
Particularly when Powell thinks the economy is going to go for another 10 years, because that was a mid-cycle adjustment. And we've gone for 10 years already.
If there is a Chinese deal out there next year, this will be another lift up for the S&P. That's why the market doesn't correct, even though the rhetoric gets worse and worse. Regarding Trump, the best thing is to look at his policy. You don't have to listen to every tweet. Policy's been fantastic for the economy, particularly for small-cap domestic businesses.
Well, you could say, though, that if last week was the point at which the president and his advisors began to say to each other, something's not working, the trade deal isn't happening, the market's down 3%, what do we do? It's interesting that they came up with this idea of lowering the capital gains or lowering payroll taxes, because those were things that possibly would stimulate the market and people who buy stocks would like.
We don't give enough credit to deregulation. I get the advantage of looking every 30 days at free cash flow of small private companies all across America. 50 of them. Every month, free cash flow goes up. We're having the best quarter I've ever seen in my life in this space. The economy's on fire, and there's no China in a company selling greeting cards in Walmart from made in America.
They still do that. No.
Yes, they do. They sell cakes and they sell all these consumer things, and their cash flow keeps going up. They're not sitting around saying, I wonder what the Chinese premier's thinking about.
I love those cakes, Joe.
Stephen mentioned passive investing, and people that have employed that strategy obviously have done very well. The question is, when they have to endure a down cycle, do they stay committed to the strategy? I think the reason why they have been able to stay in that strategy is because of what's going on outside the world. And I think for the president, for the Congress, for the Federal Reserve, you have to ask yourself the question, are we going through a secular adjustment where the rest of the world is never going to look as attractive as the U.S. from an investment opportunity. Has the emerging market story passed? Has Europe? Has Japan? Has that all passed? Again, because if you go back to the U.S. economy, we've got the technology, we've got the energy, and is this secular in nature? And if it is, number one, as an investor, you stay invested. And number two, if you're a governing body, you have to understand that.
I want to ask about Apple and the relationship that Tim Cook has. It seems like Tim Cook really helped persuade the president to delay those tariffs.
Yeah.
Until December 15th.
No doubt about it.
And here he is confirming that very good relationship.
Yes. It does say a lot. And I think to the desk, everybody was sitting there thinking, what CEO wants to be in there next and talking with the president and trying to be on his good favor about this thing. But look at Apple and look at, obviously, the effects that they have on the market just in general. We talk about it all the time, Mel, in terms of this is what really leads and moves around the market oftentimes because of its market cap. It's great to see that they have a relationship they have. The president seems to be listening to Mr. Cook. And that's important as well, because it's not just what his gut's telling him, it's what he's hearing from somebody who's everywhere in the world, particularly China.
But that's one of the reasons why I mentioned yesterday that I bought more Apple. And they very large
it's one of the
because
reasons.
Yes, his relationship with Trump.
Very healthy. It's very healthy that a president would reach out to an industry leader and have a direct dialogue, whether it's by phone or having dinner. Very, very healthy. A great strategy. I hope he does more in different other sectors. Healthcare would be another one.
Larry Culp was waiting for the call.
Has he called you?
He'll wait.
He's tweeted at him.
Is that a no?
Kevin's a regular
I was wondering. Valid question.
I'm a policy wonk. He knows I love the policy. That's what he knows that.
The investment committee is answering your questions straight ahead. To reach us, go to cnbc.com/halftime, or you can tweet us. We're back in 2.
This is a plug. A plug for the future. Inviting you to join the forward-thinking riders, skaters, and drivers who choose electricity to get around. Charging their bikes, boards, and cars using power from EDF Energy, the UK's largest producer of low-carbon electricity. So, do you like the sound of the electric future? Come and join us. Generation Electric. Everyone's welcome. EDF Energy.
Phew! Curry's PC World Mega Deals are hot stuff. You can save up to £150 on Samsung fridge freezers, all with a soothing 5-year guarantee. Starting from just $379 for the RB29. Or upgrade to an American-style model with £150 off the RS8000 and chill in the heat with its water and ice dispenser. A hot mega deal for a cool $999 at Curry's PC World.
At Asda, save 25% on a great range of wines when you mix and match any 6 bottles or more. Bring it home with Asda. Save money, live better. Selected lines in selected stores, 75 centilitre and 1.5 litre bottles, £4 and above, excludes gift sets, fortified and meal deal wines, in-store only, excludes Scotland, ends 26th of August 2019, drink aware.
Everyone wants a smooth running home so that they can spend more time enjoying it. The British Gas app allows you to do just that, because with a touch of a finger, you could quickly pay your bill or book in a boiler service, leaving you more time to fire up the barbecue or just relax with a good book. Manage your home account and more, all in one place. Download the British Gas app from the App Store or Google Play today.
This summer at Chessington World of Adventures Resort, answer the call of the wild. With over 1,000 of the world's most amazing animals and over 40 of the wildest rides and attractions. Meet the Gruffalo and all your favourite characters at the Gruffalo Summer Party and so much more. Book early and save up to 40% at chessington.com. It's Britain's wildest adventure for all the family.
With a welcome bonus from the no annual fee British Airways American Express credit card, your next getaway's not far away. So whether it's welcome to drifting down the canals of Amsterdam or bienvenue to midnight strolls in Paris, say welcome to a European adventure. Spend £1,000 in your first 3 months of card membership and get 5,000 bonus Avios. That's enough to get away to Europe sooner. Search BA Amex to find out more. Representative 22.9% APR variable. Applicants must be 18 years or older, subject to approval. Terms, taxes, fees and carrier charges apply.
Got a lot of great questions coming in. We're answering some of them. First up, Dave in Torrance, California asks, American Express has been a favorite of Joe's, but it's trading 6% below its 52-week high. What is the outlook for this Dow component? What do you say to Joe? To Dave.
What I say to Dave is the same thing that I would say to Joe. Okay, it's trading below its 52-week high. Reported a strong quarter. That's when you got the peak. And let's remember, this business model is a model that has transitioned greatly over the last couple of years. It's now got nothing but tailwinds behind it. I think you want to endure this pullback because you're going to be rewarded over the next year.
All right. Next question is for John. Peter in Flower Mound, Texas wants your thoughts on Darden Restaurants.
Very under-owned here. We've got a lot of folks that have gone to neutrals on it. This is one of those stocks, as he says in the question, or states, it's had a range that it's traded in, Mel, and it trades on the lower end of that range right now. They need some good positive news to drive some institutional investors back into the stock.
All right. Charles in Oklahoma asks if U.S. Steel is a good long-term investment. Mr. Wonderful, what do you say?
This is directly caught up in the trade wars, and so you have to be ready for huge vol. If tomorrow there was a Chinese trade deal that opened up IP in the middle market there, steel would be resolved. This stock would be up 30%, but that's not going to happen anytime soon.
All right, Pete, twofer for you.
Yeah, twofer.
Paying attention?
Let's do it, yeah.
All right.
Got you, sister.
Ravin in Arizona asks about Cloudera and Fitbit.
Well, I would say this. You're looking at two names that have absolutely been punished. They're absolutely getting slammed to the downside. Obviously, Carl Icahn last week, we talked about that in terms of Cloudera positioning there. So that makes it sort of interesting. I don't like jumping after these things unless I see an absolute trigger, Mel. Fitbit's the same way. Apple Watch crushed them, and I don't know if they can come out of this circle to the downside.
All right, finally, JB in Chicago wants to know if American Waterworks is too high to buy. You actually own it, Carrie, so...
Yeah, it's been a great stock. It's up 36% this year. It's up 50% in the last 16 months. As a utility, that's a lot of growth. It still yields 1.6%, not 3% or 4%. I might buy some of a position, but perhaps not the entire position because I think it's on a little bit of a surge right here.
All right. Big slide for Bitcoin prices today. We've got your trades straight ahead. But first to Kelly Evans with what's coming up on the exchange. Kelly.
Hi, Melissa. It could be the biggest corporate settlement ever. We're going to have the latest in the trial of Oklahoma versus Johnson & Johnson over that company's role in the opioid crisis. Also, Spider-Man is the latest casualty in the content wars. We'll talk about what's going on there between Disney and Sony. Also, Hasbro could be getting more green right now. And whether for Netflix, this is as good as it gets. That's all ahead in rapid fire. Plus, a Danish bank is paying people to take out mortgages. We'll get into that on the exchange. Talk about whether it could happen here. The Halftime Report is back after this.
What if? Interest rate.
This is a plug. A plug for the future. Inviting you to join the forward-thinking riders, skaters, and drivers who choose electricity to get around. Charging their bikes, boards, and cars using power from EDF Energy, the UK's largest producer of low-carbon electricity. So, do you like the sound of the electric future? Come and join us. Generation Electric. Everyone's welcome. EDF Energy.
Phew! Currys PC World Mega Deals are hot stuff. You can save up to £150 on Samsung fridge freezers, all with a soothing 5-year guarantee. Starting from just $379 for the RB29. Or upgrade to an American-style model with £150 off the RS8000. And chill in the heat with its water and ice dispenser. A hot mega deal for a cool $999 at Currys PC World.
Silence the squawk. Find brand new cars ready to drive away today with Auto Trader.
The sun gently fell below the horizon. Rays of pure gold filled the sky, illuminating the towering structures of the London skyline. What else could Jane do but gaze in awe? She was but a silhouette upon a hill, wrapped up in a spectacle so perfect. No words, oil paintings, or smartphone filters could do it justice. She savoured it. Before hopping back on her bike and riding off, she had to finish her commute home. Walk, cycle, discover. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
If your old faithful fridge freezer is broken or on the blink again, relax. At AO, we have a huge range jam-packed with the latest technology to keep your weekly favourites fresher than ever. Plus, there's great deals on top brands like Hisense, LG and Whirlpool, with finance options available. AO.com, the online electrical store. AO! Let's go! Credit is subject to status, must be over 18. AO Retail Limited is a broker and not a lender. Credit is provided by Secure Trust Bank PLC, trading as V12 Retail Finance.
Welcome back to the halftime.